While Vincentians were shopping, frolicking, and preparing to welcome the 2021 New Year, scientists at the University of the West Indies Seismic Research Center were alerted to an unusual event occurring at La Soufriere. It all started after a hiker sent a photograph to the seismic research team showing a small lava dome growing at the base of the existing dome in the crater of the volcano. On December 29th, a team was sent out to capture data, and it was confirmed. La Soufriere was experiencing an effusive eruption. The team sprang into action, installing new volcanic monitoring equipment and collecting samples of the material coming from the new dome.
The material that was coming out was very similar to what came out in the dome in '79. A lot of what we were doing during that phase was to look for what will happen next. And we all thought that at some point, the dome growth might continue and eventually stop, but there was always the possibility that it could go explosive.
After months of around-the-clock monitoring, seismic activity started to increase significantly in late March. By the week of April 4th, the volcano was experiencing up to 50 earthquakes per hour. The team knew they could not wait any longer. The evacuation order had to be issued if they were to save the lives of persons living in the red and orange zones.
We were always under a certain amount of pressure to give the authorities, NEMO, and the government, sufficient warning before the first explosion so that they could get people out of the way.
For weeks, La Soufriere continued to explode, shooting ash into the sky which blocked out the sun. Houses crumbled under the weight of the ash, and vegetation withered. The lives of Vincentians came to a halt as everyone watched and waited for the mountain to quiet down.
So when the explosive part finished on the 22nd of April, we would have relaxed a bit because it meant that, having to deal with this explosive component, which is the most dangerous phase in any eruption, had been over.
As if to make an already bad situation worse, heavy rains posed a new threat to communities in the red zone.
But then once you started to have rain, the ash became more and more of a problem because the rainfall remobilized the ash, pushed it into the valley, and caused a lot of destruction after the explosive part, the most dangerous part.
Professor Robertson says he hopes the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines recognize that everyone has a role to play in disaster preparedness.
It's good that we could hold up some people as models, we could see and we could recognize the efforts of Seismic, and of myself and others who have NEMO, Ms. Forbes, all those who have made effort in this thing. I think it's good that we recognize that. But I would push it back to the people and say that you need to recognize also that you have a role to play, a very important role to play in terms of making sure that St. Vincent and the Grenadines can deal with this volcanic hazard in a way that sustains life and sustains livelihoods.
And 1 year later, the alert level for La Soufriere has been lowered back down to green, and the skies over St. Vincent and the Grenadines have cleared as the island works towards recovery. The workload on the seismic research team has decreased significantly, but one thing is certain: they will continue to keep a close eye on La Soufriere in anticipation of the next volcanic eruption. Reporting for SVG-TV News, Christina Smith.